Hi, this is Hargis for another edition of Inside OSU, and with me for this edition is first Cowgirl and Hargis.
I am so glad to be with you today, Burns. It is exciting to be on our campus.
It really is exciting because in just a few days, Oklahoma State will welcome thousands of alumni and fans to the annual homecoming celebration. There are lots of events starting with Friday night's walk around and homecoming and hoops at Gallagher Arena. A Sea of Orange parade is Saturday morning, and then the Cowboy football game against the TCU Horned Frogs. And one thing every visitor will notice is how incredibly beautiful our campus looks. And that credit goes to OSU's Manager of Grounds and Landscaping, Steve Dobbs, and his team.
Thank you very much. And you're right, I do have a great staff. We figure it takes about 2,500 man-hours each week just to pull off the things that you're seeing on campus. We're also putting a new emphasis on in-house landscape design and installation. And Dave Brown and John Lee are coordinating those efforts. And you're seeing that all over campus with the renovations and the new buildings taking places and the landscapes with them. And a big part of that is directed by our landscape campus master plan.
One of the emphasis of that long-range plan is that we have little gardens and areas of interest for people to stop and think and ponder. And one is this area. Will you talk about this beautiful topiary boot?
It's quite elaborate. It's got potting soil inside, heavy metal, drip irrigation, all held together with chicken wire. And then there's 8 different kinds of plants that make up the patterns, which unfortunately are not cold hardy, so we have to pick it up and take it into the greenhouse in the wintertime.
You move this whole thing.
We do.
Lock, stock,
we
and barrel.
guesstimate it weighs about 2,300 pounds, so it takes a little bit of a crane to lift onto a trailer, and we gingerly haul it down the street and put it in the greenhouse.
Labor of love.
That's right.
Well, we're talking about the formal gardens, and I'd like you to show us some things because I'm curious of how you plan these out. They're very intricate. And, why don't we walk over and have a look?
Sure.
Well, here we are in the formal gardens, and I just look around here and wonder, how do you plan all of this?
How do you choose the plants, and how do you do the color schemes?
Well, the color part of it is fun in trying to mix and match colors and textures. And of course, we always want to have orange in it, but this year we tried something a little bit different, went with a little brighter color scheme of kind of a raspberry and orange color combination.
And purple.
Yes, and purple. And most people don't typically think of that, but had a lot of summer color with periwinkles and just a lot of new plants that we're trying to introduce folks to. But the formal gardens are probably one of the most talked about because we change the color in it with the season. And one of the things that folks will notice in the formal garden are little signs that have a QR code, which stands for quick response. And we started doing that a few years ago so we can really put an educational emphasis on what we're growing.
You've got them on trees on campus, you've got them in the Mother's Garden. They're in certain spots where anybody who's interested in something can find out more information.
That's right, because we are a land-grant university, and our goal too is to help educate people when they come on campus, and that's the way that we've been able to do it. You know, we were talking about the topiary boot. Well, you know, we also introduced and unveiled the Topiary Hat this year, and there's also a QR code there that tells the story. That hat is actually the same replica of one of our famous alums, Garth Brooks. He sent us a hat, we scanned it in, blew it up to size. My same staff member built this one, and it ended up being, I think, about 8 foot long and the brim 6 foot wide, and it's a little over 3 feet.
We also have a new Mother's Garden over here in front of the Atherton Hotel.
Yes, that was an exciting one because it's a donor-funded garden from Stuart and Linda Price out of Tulsa, and their request was that it be a garden to honor moms, which was really a fun one to try to do. So we proposed back to them a garden using plants that has a formal look to it called a knot garden. So we make the shapes and patterns with the plants, but the uniqueness is all of the plants, or the majority of them in that garden, are edible. So we've got herbs and blueberries and asparagus, peaches, a lot of vegetables, and many of those are being used in the ranchers' restaurant.
Speaking of all the things that are going on in this campus, something that we're interested in, and I know you're very interested in, is sustainability and also the cost. How do you address those two issues?
A lot of the seasonal things that you see changed out on campus, we're actually growing ourselves in the greenhouse, and that saves quite a bit of money. As far as sustainability, we really are practicing on more than people realize, but anytime we choose a plant for a location on campus, we make sure it fits in the right location, whether it's shade or wet or dry, and that's the key to success, as well as having good soil. Another simple one that people forget about is mulching. We try to use things, again, that are a byproduct of the industry. And then lastly is irrigation. We're very fortunate to have irrigation in the heart of the campus, but our system is designed with sustainability. Every landscape bed, even including these annuals, has drip irrigation in them. So the tubing is under the mulch, right at the base of the plants on the root system, goes right to where it's needed.
You've created a real source of pride for our campus, and it's a tremendous attraction. So thanks for everything you do.
Thank you,
We
President
really
Hargis.
appreciate it,
Thank
Steve.
you.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you.
Well, that's another edition of Inside OSU. I'm going to leave you now with the sights and sounds of America's greatest homecoming celebration.